all, it is good to see you today. I hope you're having a great day, a great week. I wanted to share something with you today in my weekly video that comes out of some personal reflections. I've been spending the last few months looking at the life of Jesus, focusing a little bit less on the things he said and the things he did. And the reason is I want to emulate the behaviors of someone whose life I want to be like. We do this all the time. If we want to be extraordinarily fit, then we look for people that we can follow and emulate. If we want to be successful in business, we look at the habits and the practices of those that are successful. The idea is that if we emulate the behaviors and actions of successful people, it will help us in our lives as well. And so as I've done this with the life of Jesus, there's been a whole number of things that have stood out, but one of them in particular. As I looked around through the life of Jesus, I noticed how he traveled. With one exception, everything Jesus did, and he traveled a lot. He traveled by foot, by walking, or by boat. And my wife asked a question that kind of rang in my head for quite a while, which is how different would Jesus' ministry have been if he had ridden by chariot? If he had been in something that moved faster, that got him from point A to point B, what would his ministry, what would he have done differently? And as you read through the stories of Jesus, you find that many of his encounters, most significant ones, and many of his great teachings happened as he went along the way, as he was on the journey. Things that would have never happened had he been in a chariot trying to get from the next point to the next point happened because of the pace of his life. Now, we obviously today can't emulate that physically. We're not going to walk everywhere we go. We're not going to necessarily ride a bike versus drive a car. But there is a principle at play here that I think is really, really important. And I call it the difference between a point-to-point life and a journey life. Let me explain. A point-to-point life is all about the destination. It's all about the next task. It's the next job that needs to be accomplished. It's about the next meeting that we have to do. It's the next email we have to answer. It's the thing that's in front of us that we feel it has to be done. It's on the list. It's on the to-do list. It's what people are asking for. And our focus is fully engaged in getting to that next thing. It occupies all our attention. The focus of a point-to-point life is on achievement, on progress, on accomplishment. The problem with the point-to-point life is because we're so narrowly focused on these things, we run the risk of missing things in life as we're dedicated to our goal. Now, a journey life is a little bit different. A journey life is not a lazy life. A journey life is not a life that you just do whatever you want. You still have goals, there are still tasks, there are still meetings, there are still emails, there are still jobs that need to happen. None of that's changed. But a journey life takes the focus off the destination and puts it a little more into the journey, into what's happening around us. A journey life tends to be a less hurried life. It's a less worried life. And a journey life is one that takes advantage of opportunities that we often, that point-to-point people see as interruptions to do something amazing. If you have kids, you know this. Some of the most significant conversations you've ever had with your children are because you had some space. Maybe you were at the park. Maybe you were driving in the car with the radio off, or something's going on. And all of a sudden, your teenager asks a question or brings something up, and it results in this amazing conversation that never would have happened if you weren't just being in the moment. That is a journey life. A point-to-point life is a life that says that my priorities, my goals, my objectives, the things that are important to me, that's what decides everything that I do. Right? My schedule, my life, my priorities. A journey life says that it's God's schedule, God's priorities, God's task, God's schedule that determines what I do. So my encouragement to you today, especially if you're a point-to-point person, which is kind of how I'm wired, is to become a journey liver. Because if you go through life driving the chariot, you'll never know what you missed. Till next time.